talk about is the barriers to care. And as you know, I like to say that we specialize in adults that have significant dental needs that have accumulated over time that need treated now. What I mean by need treated now is it comes to a crescendo of issues where you have no choice but to treat your issues now because you have pain, you have disfigurement, basically a dental handicap, where your dentition is no longer functioning for you. In fact, it's causing a problem with your quality of life on an everyday basis. So it's not to say that that's all we do, obviously, because we are maintaining many patients who have been fixed up and who are now in maintenance, but the people that typically will seek us out are the ones that have found themselves with serious dental issues. So what are the barriers to people seeking regular dental care? Over the years, I've found out that there are three that fit into people out there that are in this situation are typically going to fit into one of these three categories. So the first category I would say is time, lack of time. For example, a woman such as yourself that is busy raising a kid or a couple of kids, right? That now time is very limited and your priorities are changing, especially if that woman is a single mom, right? Especially feel bad for those women that find themselves 2 steps behind problems and it's all they can do to raise the children, especially if they don't have the help from supporting family. And typical scenario is, they were up with their dental care, but now when the kids come along, first missed appointment is obvious. Second missed appointment becomes, well, I almost made it, but the kid, woke up and my child had a sniffy nose, which is, a drippy nose or whatnot. We all know that's really common. And by then it becomes a habit. Well, heck, I've already missed 2, I've lost track, Next thing you know, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years have gone by. And 6 years seems to be the magic number, I don't know why, but 6 years, you can accumulate a lot of dental issues in 6 years. And a problem that was a simple filling, let's just say most likely in $250 to $300 range to fix, turns into a big filling or a big cavity. Mom's eating a sandwich, breaks a tooth on a sandwich. Says, gee, I was just eating a sandwich and my tooth broke. I don't know what's wrong with this bread. And the truth is, it wasn't the sandwich, it was that the tooth is hollow on the inside because it has a cavity that's been growing for the last 2 to 3 years. And we wish that that small cavity or even a big cavity would cause discomfort because it would never get to the point where it would actually demolish the tooth. So I run into these people sometimes at the grocery store and they'll tell me, yeah, I haven't been in 3 or 4 years, but I haven't had any issues, but they don't know. These issues need to be found in a dental exam, which they haven't had the luxury of in 3 to 4 to 5, 6 years. And so you can see how this problem accumulates into, it went from a $250 problem to a $2,500 problem when you need a root canal, post and core crown, and then it gets contagious. It jumps from one tooth to the next, and next thing you know, you got a $10,000 dental bill. So this is what we see, that is the barrier, was time. Okay? Not to belabor the point, but with a guy, especially small business owner, time is money. You're off building your business. You don't have the time or you don't have your business built up enough to delegate things, so you're handling everything, putting out fires, and the same thing happens. Guy, he's in that guy mode, he's, making money, he's taking care of his family, not taking care of himself, And he gets to the point where when it hits a crescendo with him, it's usually the wife says, you need to get in, either because his breath doesn't smell great, or he's starting to look kind of, starting to age a little bit. You can start to see the gums receding. You can start to see things building up. The teeth are, not white anymore. Or, it catches up with them health-wise because they're putting on extra pounds. They're sitting on the couch at night eating Haagen-Dazs. And it's all cumulative.
Right.
Okay? And the guy says, I don't have time, honey. I have no time to get this done. My point is it's avoidable. You need to make the time because, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. This definitely applies here. So those two scenarios are what come to mind, and that's what I see on a regular basis. And, the next category, Casey, would be money. Now, money, I think, is used as an excuse a lot because, we all have money that comes and goes in and out of our hands, but there's lots of competing factors. And dentistry, often when you're younger, is not right at the top of the list, especially when something is not an urgency. Okay, you may have been brought up as you were, where your parents were great people, brought you to the dentist every 6 months, you didn't know any different, right?
Yeah.
Then you become an adult. I know this doesn't apply to you, but you become an adult and you're like, I'm a real adult now, I've got responsibilities, and you gotta pay for lots of things. You buy a house, you gotta put a down payment, you gotta maintain the home, you got an upkeep on your car, you have vacations that you wanna take, and that $300 cleaning becomes, I think I'm gonna put that one off. Kinda would like to, put this into my car or whatever it may be, my kids' vacation. And that you can see how that's easy to fall into that trap. Again, because pain is not there. 4 to 5 to 6 years go by again, and you really have not saved any money. It's definitely cost you a lot of money. So patients joke sometimes when I see them, and I say the bad news is that we found something that needs to be fixed. So the good news is we're going to save you a lot of money. And they joke and they say, oh yeah, how are you going to save me money? And the truth is, because we are. It's you get to something earlier, it's more predictable, less costly, less invasive, right? Because the bad thing is if you let something accumulate to the point where you're pouring a lot of money at the problem, the end result is less predictable, right? There's a price to pay, unfortunately. I can do as much, my staff and I can do as much as we can to make it really look great and really do our best to take you at the point where you are and fix it. But we understand what's underneath there. And a lot of times what's underneath there is very compromised. But if the goal is to get you to 100, we can't give up when you're in your 40s and say, hey, let's take all the teeth out, it's not worth it, and start and do a denture, right? Because that will affect your quality of life. So that's money, all right? And a lot of times patients will use the excuse of, and we've talked about this, of I don't have insurance.
Right.
So I don't have the money because I don't have insurance. But are you really saving money by putting those cleanings off until you do have insurance? Because I think it's important to understand, as I say, the insurance is like a coupon. So it's at the grocery store, you put the things in your cart that you want. You have a coupon for some of the things that you have coupons for, but you still got to feed the family, and you got to buy the groceries that you need to sustain your health and lifestyle, whether you have a coupon or not.
Right.
So with your insurance, yes, you got to do what you need, what your doctor that you have a good relationship tells you need to get your dental health in order, and your insurance is there to help you out, but it does by no means there to take care of all your needs. The good thing is, if you have been on regular care, you're not going to have big surprises.
Okay.
So the third category, can you guess what the third category is?
Oh gosh. Time, money, I don't know.
Fear.
Ah, yes.
Fear is a very common one. And you know, it's the most debilitating one. Fear is paralyzing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for these patients because they're out there and they know, they worry about this every day, but they can't overcome the fear to actually make it in the chair because it's a visceral response.
Mm-hmm. It's the person that doesn't want to go to the doctor because they're worried something will be wrong.
Yeah, right.
That's the whole point.
And what do they do in the meantime? Well, they really do the best they can on a holistic level to do everything they can to avoid. They say, you know what, I can't go to the doctor because I'm afraid, but they're pretty good with oral hygiene.
Okay.
They come in and they've been brushing their teeth, they've been flossing, and they hold it off as much as they possibly can. But again, they reach a crescendo. And when the pain, the physical pain that occurs is greater than the pain, the mental pain of actually confronting and sitting down in the chair, they make it in.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize these patients and empathize with them quite a bit. And I recognize them right away because they want to do everything they can, even at that point, to avoid pain.
Right.
I can't even hardly get them to sit in the chair. And, what I can tell you with these patients is we really have to take a lot of extra TLC, and to address it in a very humanistic way, address it and understand where that patient is coming from, find out exactly what has happened in the past that may have been traumatizing to that patient, hear their story. And when I hear their story, I am now working on a human being, right? It's not, okay, I've got a couple crowns a day I need to do. It's, I'm working on Mary Sue, and I know all about her history, and we know what to avoid, we know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
We have a strategy to make that appointment successful. So she's going to come out of the appointment with what she's been wanting for years.
Mm-hmm. So are these people typically like scared of the dentist because they've had bad work done, or are they scared of like the physical pain of getting
They
something
typically
done?
have been mistreated in the past, yeah. And, it's a terrible thing that the profession has done to some of these people, because some people, it's like they want something fast, they want something easy. And my practice, we see one patient at a time, we really address the individual, we get to hear their story first. So I'm aware of who those people are, that you cannot rush through a procedure, you can't take things for granted. You can't get them in and out. You have to find out their idiosyncrasies and treat them for who they are, no matter how crazy it may seem.
Right.
So we all have fears that are not logical, right? I have a fear ever since watching Jaws when I was a kid of going in water that my feet can't touch the ground. I think there's a shark that's here. I'm like, this is crazy. I see all these people out in the water. How come I can't get out? No, I can do it, but I am not comfortable doing it.
Right.
And my wife can do it, and it's no problem, and she makes fun of me. So I understand to some degree fear is not logical, right? It's.
So you have to treat the person, not the problem.
Yeah, you have to meet them where they are. And there's another thing that you can do. And I always say, let's beat this thing pharmacologically, right? Let's use whatever strategy we can that's going to help you break through this barrier. And that is oral sedation in my office.
Mm-hmm.
So we do our oral sedation cases on Friday. We find out if you're a good candidate for it, and the oral sedation we use is triazolam, which is a benzodiazepine. It is basically falls in the category of a sleep medicine. We have you take a couple of tablets, a tablet the night before, a Valium, and 2 tablets under the tongue about an hour before your appointment, and then we monitor your vitals and get you to a dreamy state. But what's important is it's conscious sedation. It's not unconscious sedation with an IV. So conscious sedation is great for general dentistry. Different than if you're going to get your wisdom teeth out. You can have somebody totally out because they're basically at your disposal, right? You don't need them awake. When I'm doing dentistry, that is very detailed and very relies a lot on patient compliance, open, close, how does that bite feel, so on and so forth. We need you in a state where you're there. So what conscious sedation does, it gets you to a state that you don't care. Hey doc, let's do it. I'm good. This is great. And the nice thing about it, it's very safe, and you don't remember it too much.
Right, and the time goes by.
Time goes by fast.
faster.
Time goes by really fast. So the perfect appointment is 3.5, 4 hours of dentistry, and you come in, and especially people that are a little antsy to sit down for 3.5, 4 hours in a chair. Gee, that's hard. You know, it's like sitting down for 3.5, 4 hour flight. You go nuts.
Yeah.
Especially if you get your mouth open the whole time. So when they're on the conscious sedation, when we see them afterwards, say, how'd that go? They go, that was fast. I'm like, well, it wasn't really that fast. It was 3.5, 4 hours like we said. And they go, felt like 30 minutes, doc.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do this a long time ago? I'm like, well, you were never offered it.
Right.
So we love the conscious oral sedation. And patients get through their barrier. They get things done that needed to be done 10 years ago, and they get their life back in order. And guess what? That translates to everything else. So once they conquer that fear, they go, oh, I think I'm going to get some jogging shoes. Or I think I'm going to take that trip to Morocco that I've always been afraid to get on that plane and do this. It's great. It's very, very empowering, and it's a great bond with the patient. And I find that once we can get them through that, we have a special bond, a special trust. We can get a lot of things done. So those are the 3 barriers, and I want as many people to see this and to dig into this as much as they can so they can get through any barriers that are keeping them from getting the dental care that they need to get to 100 with all their teeth. So hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you.